Hi guys, in this lesson we're going to do some small pieces of refactoring to the user snapshot associations that we created in the last lesson. We're going to set the user snapshot to be retrieved in a certain order, and we'll make snapshots dependent on users so that will automatically be destroyed if their associated user is destroyed. At the moment, our user.snapshots method gives us no guarantee as to the order that the feedback is retrieved. So if I leave a piece of feedback for you, a snapshot for you, I could leave the snapshot today, but in 6 months later I could leave you a new one and you would still see today's one at the top of the list. We don't want that. We want the most recent snapshot always to be ordered on the top of the list. So that means our snapshots have to come out in reverse order, which means the most recent first. To do this, we'll update what's called the default scope. We're going to use test-driven development to make sure that we're testing the right piece of code. We'll write a test to verify that the first snapshot in the database is the same as a fixture we'll call most recent. To get started, let's go to test models snapshot.test. We'll add in a new test, so I'll pause the video and come back when the test is written. See you in just a moment. Okay guys, so here we are back, and as you can see, starting on line 29, I've added in a single test, which tests to ensure that the most recent feedback or snapshot appears first when we have a list of feedbacks. This test is dependent on having some snapshot fixtures, which we can define in a similar way to the user fixtures which we saw in a previous lesson. So over here on the left hand side, test fixtures snapshots.yml. We'll go there in just a moment. So in addition to the content attribute that we defined in a previous lesson, we also need to define the associated user. Thankfully, Rails has a way to build associations in fixtures. So let's jump into our fixtures file now, snapshots.yml, and here we go. And as you can see, I have some information in here already, and we're going to go through this now. So starting on line 3, what we've done is we've defined a project. So for this project, we've added a piece of content. Great job on the new user interface. This feedback was created 10 minutes ago and it's associated to the user Tony. Now I've created 3 more projects with similar feedback, and the main difference is the timestamps, 2 months ago and time.zone.now, which means this feedback is left right now at this moment in time. Each project has a user, Tony, and by identifying the user as Tony, we're telling Rails to associate this snapshot with the corresponding user in the user's fixture file, which we've seen several times. Now let's run Rails test, but just for one particular test, which should hopefully fail. I know that sounds strange, but let's take a look. Rails test. What do we want to test? We only want to test one file, models.snapshot _test text test.orb. Hit enter. Now, the reason we get this big long error list is small typo. As you can see, I have test/models.snapshot_test. That is not the root of our file. It is test/models/snapshot_test. If you adjust that and run it again, you will see we get a failure. That's exactly what we wanted. To get this test to pass, we need to use a Rails method called default scope, which can be used to set the default order in which elements are retrieved from the database. To enforce an order, we'll include the order argument in the default scope, which lets us order by the created@at column. So go to app models snapshot, left hand side, let me scroll up here, app model snapshot, there we go. Now at line 2, hit enter and type in default _scope and then hyphen right arrow, curly brackets, order, brackets, created@, colon, space, colon, DESC, close brackets, close curly brackets. We've just used a lambda function here, which is beyond the scope of this lesson, but don't worry, you don't exactly need to know what this code does. Save that. Now within the order argument here, order, we have DESC, which is SQL for descending. If we run Rails tests again, hopefully they should be green. Let's take a look. No fixture named most recent found for fixture set snapshot. Okay, let's take a look. And to get our test to green, the answer is exactly in the error. No fixture name most recent found for fixture set snapshot. So let's go into our fixture set snapshot here. Let's simply rename this most underscore recent. Save that, run our test again. Perfect. Now that we have the ordering sorted out, it's time to add the dependency of snapshots on users. So if a user is destroyed, that user's snapshots should also be destroyed. And to accomplish this, we pass an option to the has many association. So let's go to app models user.orb, which I have opened from a previous lesson. Here we are here. Line 2 has many snapshots, so a user can have many snapshots, comma, dependent, colon, space, colon, destroy. Save that. This piece of code arranges for any dependent snapshots to be destroyed when their user or their creator is destroyed. To confirm that this code works, we can create a test for the user model. What we need to do is save the user and create an associated snapshot. We then check that destroying the user reduces the number of snapshots by 1 or reduces the count of snapshots by 1. Let's go to test models user test. Left hand side, test models user test. Down the very end, we're going to add in a new test. So I'll pause this video and come back in just a moment. Okay guys, so here we are back, and as you can see, starting on line 64, I've added a new test which checks that associated snapshots are destroyed when a user is destroyed. So on a user save, so when a user saves a snapshot, make sure the snapshot is created, we've given it a piece of content. Then when a user is deleted, snapshot count should go down by -1. Let's run our tests. Rails test. Perfect. 38 tests passed. Great. That's it for this lesson, guys. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next.